Yeah, if you want to, go ahead and put the questions.
But really, I'm serious. Like, I don't want
Okay, as soon as 11, I love being a guy that I stick to my time. So as soon as around like 10:55, 11. Beautiful, beautiful. I think we're good to go here. I'm going to start the show. All right. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is CaseStudyQB, and we are in the Progressive War Room with Matt Orfalea. And man, we got a lot of news going on lately and a lot of stuff to talk about. I really wanted to interview Matt. Matt is a video producer who is most famous for the viral video called Rising Up, featuring the mischaracterization of mainstream media, or what I would call capitalist news media, towards Bernie Sanders. All right, so while with that introduction, I just want to ask you right off the top, like, what would you have liked to have seen with that viral video? Unfortunately, you was hired. Fortunately, you were hired, but then unfortunately, because of, scandal or whatever you want to call it, you had to be let go. But if you were to be on the
lies
campaign,
and smears, that's what I call it. But
there you go, lies and smears and attacks from non-Bernie supporters, and they did a good job, a smear job of getting who I think would have been an asset to the Bernie Sanders campaign. They got you off of the campaign. But I want to know what would have been your vision for that ad. What would you have done to it? Would you have liked to see it on TV, etc.?
Oh, sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah. And just so people understand, like, these smears were coming from Neera Tanden.
Yeah, exactly. Who's now going to be in the cabinet, unfortunately, and probably Bernie will have to like usher her in with a vote. But anyway,
yeah, that's pretty funny.
It's pretty unfortunate. Yep.
Unfortunate, but sometimes you just gotta laugh. So you asked me, what my hopes for the video was? Well, my hopes was just to show people how the media was misframing Bernie Sanders. And like, it's that simple. That was my goal. And based on the positive feedback, I mean, even getting invited to be a part of the campaign, visit headquarters, I got a lot of thanks. And that was beyond my expectations. All I wanted to do was just expose it. And with that, when the campaign tweets it out, or anybody on the campaign tweets it out, or when but really when anybody, doesn't have to be the campaign, anybody tweets it out, that helps get the message out. And because just regular people like myself tweeted it out, liked it, thought it did a good job of exposing the lies and smears against Bernie Sanders, then the campaign got a hold of it. They shared it a little bit, so some of the staff, and send more people there. I mean, that was my goal.
Let me ask you this. Did you have anything in mind for like the next step? Like when you got hired, you said, okay, I want to cut this down to TV ad, and then that's going to be rising up on TV. But then, okay, the next step is like, for example, I want to hit Biden with the ad, or I want to hit this person with the ad. What was the next thing you were going to work on? Okay,
well, clearly, this actually got to headquarters. I got an invite from the head of the campaign, Faz Shakur. He invited me to work with them, and had me meet the digital communications director. And I told him what my thoughts were. And I thought, I mean, they just asked some ideas, and in the back of my head, I always have a lot of ideas I'd like to do that constantly. I mean, you with your case, with your, clipping all these clips every day, every one of these things gets your mind turning, and you're like, how can I expose this? I mean, now on Twitter, it's just like, you'll frame it with just, you only have 124 characters or something to explain, a little bit, to add your commentary. And with video, there's like, all right, how can I add my commentary? How can I show people? And, it's not, and when you're working with video, the commentary's not, now I'm hearing an echo.
Sorry.
It's okay. I mean, if you need to fix any audio issues, you let me know.
No problem. Is it better now?
Yeah. I don't hear the audio.
Good. Okay, good.
Okay, so apologies. I know I
Yeah,
made you,
no,
if I'm
basically I
rambling
wanted
a
to
bit.
know what your next step were, the next ad you wanted to create.
Okay, so what they asked me that,
Mm-hmm.
the communications director, digital
Mm-hmm.
communications director,
Mm-hmm.
and I had let's see, I gave him ideas. One of them I still remember right now off the top of my head, and that was, I was like, Bernie Sanders really was uh, continuing MLK's fight for economic justice,
Mm-hmm.
racial justice too, but economic justice as well.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and so they're so intertwined. The messages are so intertwined.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew this. My video went viral. This is why it was on my mind. Probably is in addition to me had already started the project, but
Mm-hmm.
this was the end of October, and January 1st, or the first week of January was coming up, MLK Day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, why don't we do a video, cross-cutting. Actually, my idea actually originally wasn't even cross-cutting Bernie
Mm-hmm.
Sanders with MLK. It was
Mm-hmm.
just straight up MLK, just straight up
Okay.
MLK, and then at the end, you cut to MLK monument and say, and Bernie Sanders is there at the monument. I'm Bernie Sanders, and I approve this message.
Hmm.
That would
Interesting.
be
Okay.
so fucking powerful
Hmm.
to me, in my
Okay.
opinion, because you just have the MLK's words. You don't need that's it. Just MLK's, because it lines up perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
And good luck, all these people smearing Bernie Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
It's absurd that they're able to convince some people with this, but some people, they just see it and they believe it. But if they hear the same words that were coming out of Bernie Sanders' mouth, coming out of MLK's mouth, which they did, then, I think it could hit home a little harder for these people, and wake some of these people up who are like, anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was just my idea. I thought that could be really
Mm-hmm.
powerful. Interestingly, the digital communications director was like, no, we can't do that because,
Mm-hmm.
people will say he's name dropping MLK.
Mm.
Like, what? Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold
Yeah.
on. He's literally just, there's no name dropping about, this is MLK's words,
Yeah.
and I approve this message.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's, what do you know what I mean? Like, there's
Yeah. Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
no appropriation.
Yeah.
It's not it's not just my message. I get my message from MLK.
Yeah.
It's his message, and I approve it, and I'm
Yeah.
trying to push it forward. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I
Like, so
wonder
anyway,
if we could have
that, yeah.
like tested it out, because I hear both sides of he's worried that is going to get misconstrued, right? And which is what happens a lot, unfortunately, especially with the mainstream media.
Yeah,
but I'm wondering, my thing is, I wonder if you would have been
get misconstrued. Case,
no,
because
what
it would
what
get twisted, and
yeah,
like people would like Neurotandans would try to make a
exactly,
controversy out of
exactly.
it. Like, they try to make a controversy out of it, but there should be no
There's no
controversy.
there. So I would say like they could at least put it on the internet and see how it runs, and then go from there. If it runs well, put it on TV, right? Would that be suitable?
Absolutely. Yeah, no,
Okay.
absolutely. And that made me think of, so you asked what all my thoughts were going forward. Also, it's like, another thing that I thought was kind of weird is, I'm getting a unsolicited call from the campaign director, telling me how great the video is, and they didn't like tweet it out. They didn't share it on Facebook or all their channels with millions of followers. And I'm like, I'm like, I just asking him about that. Like, well, thanks. Please tweet it out if you like it. And
Yeah.
the campaign did tweet it out eventually.
Okay.
And but this is interesting story, and stop me if you've heard this already, but when I went to have this meeting at the headquarters, and they're just asking me, picking my brain, and I'm happy to give them my ideas. I actually, okay, beyond that, giving them they gave me their ideas, right? Because if I'm going to work with them, I'm like, so what are your ideas? What do you want me to do if I come here? They said they wanted me to cut out some of the most powerful parts of the video.
Hmm.
Did you hear about this?
Yeah, I did hear about that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So they want to cut. They wanted to cut out Trevor Noah laughing at Bernie Sanders as like being some grumpy old man.
Yeah, the part where he was saying to the children, like, you're stupid or something like that, right?
Yes. Yeah. Which was taken out of context.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. I hear you. And I think that's probably the watering down from, it's almost like the consultants. Like, we always hear about consultants in a campaign that is always like preventing candidates from doing edgy things and trying to do innovative things. And that's what it sounds to me what was going on inside the Bernie Sanders campaign, right?
No, you're absolutely right, Case. You're absolutely right. But the thing is, that's not edgy. It's not edgy to call out Trevor Noah for like, and again, it's just a little jab. It's not like, Trevor Noah is evil. Trevor Noah is a charlatan. That's not what it's just like this clip, here's a little more context.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
it.
That's all.
Because here's the thing, because Noah, let me say, Noah, I think, was overall pretty damn positive for the Bernie Sanders campaign. Yeah. However, he mixed his, compliments with some jabs, comedic jabs, which is totally fine. He's a goddamn comedian, and he's funny a lot of the time. But the problem was the Bernie campaign was so weak and feckless, they wouldn't just do a little playful jab back. That's it.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's totally unfortunate. So I want to get into the other questions because I know I have you for a limited time. So the first thing I want to ask you is, what have you been up to lately?
Let's see. Well, yes, the Force the Vote movement. I'm always juggling a lot of projects, but I really was inspired by Jimmy Dore's Force the Vote idea. And that movement, which is much more than Jimmy Dore, much more than Jimmy Dore. I just found out yesterday that the DSA, it was in their strategy, to push for a floor vote for over a year now or so.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. How funny is that, Case?
Yeah. That is
how
interesting.
Funny is that? Tell us why that's funny for the people who don't know. That's hilarious. Okay.
Well, no, that's definitely just because this Force the Vote movement have just been going on for about maybe 2 or 3 weeks now, and for a whole year, DSA's been has this plan. Yes. They should have jumped right on it then.
Exactly. And what are they doing instead? A lot of them, now, not all of them. I mean, but a lot of them. I just see a lot of these people on Twitter and some on their YouTube channels on Twitter with their red roses, and they're going, this is not a great idea. This is not a great, you idiots. Your own organization put this in an official strategy document.
Yeah.
Just think about that. Just think how crazy that is.
So let's go ahead.
And why is that? Well, it's just because they don't like Jimmy Dore. Even though it's an idea that has nothing to do with fucking Jimmy Dore. No, hold on. Now that's if you're giving them credit, I don't know. That would be the nicest thing that's going on. What I worry may actually be going on, and I know is going on in some cases, is these commentators who supposedly have been for pushing for Medicare for all and supposedly are all about speaking truth to power. They don't actually give a fuck about that. That's not actually what they're interested in. They really are just caring about YouTube clicks. Okay. Now here's the thing. YouTube clicks is fine. I'm not going to knock on anybody for pushing for YouTube clicks. A lot of the time, I want to go for YouTube clicks. I think a lot of the times I go for ideas more than YouTube clicks. You want to do both. Both is important. Yeah. But sometimes me favoring ideas that's not the most popular, you don't get as many clicks. But anyway, so maybe that's a bad on my part. But here's the issue: is they are literally telling their audience in their channel trailer. Benjamin Dixon, for example, in his channel trailer, first 5 seconds is speaking truth to power. We need Medicare for all. That was the first 5 seconds of his channel trailer. It's not on his splash page anymore. How crazy is that? How crazy is that? Wow. And so when you're telling your audience that this is what you stand for, speaking truth to power, and then you shit on a strategy that's all about speaking truth to power and holding power accountable to their own promises. to the progressives' own promises to bring a vote and to vote and to do everything they can to push for Medicare for all.
So this is the Progressive War Room, and I want to talk about political strategy, and I definitely love that input. But I really want to pick your brain on, like, what do you wish DSA would have done? Let's put Jimmy aside. What do you wish DSA or any other movement, what do you think they could have done to get this pushed?
All right, I already spoke about the hypocrisy of some DSA people. I just two things for everybody. So I'm not going to this is not DSA aimed at DSA. Like I said, I wish everybody that actually tells their audience that they're all about pushing Medicare for all and they're all about speaking truth to power actually followed through on that. They did the exact opposite in this situation. Cenk Uygur, he's been talking about this his whole career at TYT anyway, and now he's smearing Jimmy Dore. Meanwhile, 89% of his audience, according to a TYT poll, support the force of the vote idea. This is hilarious. This is crazy what's going on now. And then as far as for normal people, I would just think that normal people should realize that, Medicare for all, you don't have to be anti-capitalist. You just have to understand that Medicare for all saves money and countries with universal healthcare prefer that form of healthcare. When Japan got destroyed, this is after World War II. This is just an aside example, but they're like, all right, our country's destroyed. How do we rebuild? And they visited the U.S. Healthcare system, and they're like, fuck, we can't do this.
Yeah, exactly. So Matt, this is what I mean. This is an idea, if you don't mind me throwing out an idea. So during the campaign, Bernie Sanders was starting to gain traction. And what happened? We saw that from, I forgot what newspaper, there was a meeting, and it included Pete Buttigieg, it included Nancy Pelosi, and it was like, I don't know if it was a fundraiser trying to mix Narratan. Okay, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, and these people went behind the scenes, and somebody leaked it, maybe purposefully. I don't know if they were trying to send a message to Bernie or whatnot, but they went behind the scenes. To this day, we don't know exactly what was discussed. And my thing with the CARES Act, we knew that was coming down the pike. One thing I gotta give credit to Jimmy Dore was that he had he was the first person sounding the alarm saying, hey, this is crap. We need to get, $2,000 UBI. We need to pump this up. This is coming down. Like, what's going on? And I was one of those people like, okay, any day now, Bernie Sanders is going to come out. The squad is going to come out with the unified force, and they're going to say, hey, if we're going to give all these trillions of dollars to the corporations, then we need to have UBI, we need to have Medicare for all during the COVID, etc. Right? And just crickets, nothing happened at all. So my thing is like, okay, at this point, we need to start organizing, whether it's behind the scenes, in the front of the scenes. I think so many people are excited about Force the Vote is because it's finally people getting organized in front of the scene. And matter of fact, as grassroots, as the people, we don't have the money concentration that, Jeff Bezos and all these people have. That's their advantage, that they can pay lobbyists to get what they want passed. Our advantage is the people. And I'm down with the Force the Vote hashtag in the movement because it's pushing the grassroots to galvanize and to do something. It's finally we're galvanizing, and what I wish would have happened, and hopefully it can still happen. We need to have our meeting. I wish I would love to see the TYT Jimmy Dore. I mean, it's unfortunately it's getting so bad, personal attacks. I don't know if this can happen, but they can meet. Dave Sirota had great ideas to add to it, and I think the closest we ever got to it was Katie Halper had a forum, on her channel, and it was Dave Sirota, Bree, Joy Gray, and a whole bunch of people, and they discussed, and I thought it was marvelous. Like, we need to do that more often and with other strategies. What do you think?
Yeah,
we need to come together and strategize. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, here's the thing. You're saying like, oh, this is so good because progressives are actually doing something.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, like to me, like the word progressive, like it's not important to me. Like just people who want Medicare for all are pushing for something. But here's the thing: is really and truly, everyone's always pushing for something, right? When you upload your clips, you're pushing for something. You're pushing, right? So everyone's always pushing for something. What's so important and special about this, and why it gains so much traction, is because it's more than just pushing for something. You can actually do something, because even if you don't get Medicare for all, you force a floor vote. That's historic. That's serious. That's something tangible. That's real. Forcing politicians who don't want to have a floor vote because they don't want to be exposed, like Nancy Pelosi, who herself promoted single payer and said we needed a Medicare for all back in 1993. She's the Speaker of House. We need to force her to do it. She's been saying that for 30 years. So if we don't push AOC to do what she says she wants to do and get universal health care, she's going to do the same thing.
Totally.
You have to force them to do it. I mean, she's going to be fine. And again, and here, this is not an attack on the character of AOC. This is human nature, Case. This is human nature. Okay. 100%. AOC would rather, like, if she can just stay famous and go on talk shows, and get praise for just saying, talking about doing nice things. Yeah. Why would she ever actually take the step to get nice, things? Like, and even if she does help us get nice things, such as $15 minimum wage, that's like her excuse was, force the vote. People are crazy because we're going to use our political leverage to get $15 an hour minimum wage. Joe Biden's already for that. People are already for that. You don't need to push for that. You have leverage now because you can withhold your vote from Nancy Pelosi for Speaker of the House on January 3rd. It's coming right up, and say, if you want my vote, if you want to become Speaker, you have to do X, Y, and Z. How about just X? How about just Medicare? I mean, that's not asking much, Case.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
real leverage to do what they said they were going to do. Not just what they said, what they've been saying they're going to do since before they got elected. Yeah, unfortunately,
I just clipped a quote this morning, a clip on Case Study QB with Nikema. She's a Congresswoman elect who just took replaced John. Not John. I'm slipping his name, but she's for Medicare for all. But she also promised that she's going to vote for Nancy Pelosi, like just straight up, and that's unfortunate. Who said
this
is Nikema Williams, I believe her name is. John Lewis, the congressman that just passed away. She's going to be in that seat, and she just said it. If we have a chance, I'll play it at the end for you. So I definitely wanted to touch on force the vote. The last thing I'm going to say, and then we're going to move on, is I just wish that we didn't attack each other. I think I'm a big unite the left kind of guy, because we don't need to be divided amongst ourselves when we have a bigger enemy in the 1% who has unlimited money, unlimited amount of lobbyists. And I wish, if you disagree, I respect people who don't agree with it. That's fine. What's your tactic? I would love to know what you are going to do, but I'm not going to cancel you. There's different people on various sides. It seems like there's just a divide between the TYTs on one side and then there's Jimmy Dore on one side with all his allies.
Not even the TYTs, Case. It's just the ownership of TYT. Cenk and Anna Kasparian.
I hear what you're saying, but that's what I'm talking about. No, that's exactly what I'm talking about, though.
The poll is 89%.
No, I hear you. I hear you.
Own poll, own viewer, not just viewer poll, paid member poll.
But I agree with that's what I'm saying.
With the tactic.
But I'm talking about those exact same people. Yeah, I'm talking about Cenk and Anna and those people. Like
I just wanted to clarify. I'm sorry.
No problem. No, I just think it's unfortunate that I wish we could have agreed to disagree, and then the next, because we have other initiatives, we have other fights to fight. And how are we going to galvanize among something that we all do agree with? Some people might not agree with this strategy, but then there's another strategy that we're going to touch on later on that I'm like, okay, how do we all come together behind this strategy? All right. So let's move on to the next question. So the first question I want to ask you, where do you see, I want to ask about yourself, and where do you see your role in progressive politics? Like, do you have a consulting company? Like, if I'm about to run, I say, hey, Matt, I want you to run my ad section of my campaign, or tell me a little bit about that.
I've been asked actually by a few politicians. I mean, it's very small time people running. I mean, I think your audience may have heard of them, but you know, and the thing is, I, I, I don't know. I think I'm better suited. I mean, clearly, what history shows, unless people are really brave and bold enough to you know, have a campaign where they don't you know, hold their tongue, where they aren't afraid to just call something what it is, you know, to then I think I'm better suited just working independently. I don't have a consulting company. I don't have a company. I'm just me.
Yeah, gotcha.
And yet, I did that one video and others performed better than the Bernie Sanders campaign's own videos, in particular. And at the time, they had just put out like their first official campaign ad, and my ad performed 10 times better than theirs. Bernie Sanders campaign, they took more money. I think they actually got more money from donations than any other campaign this time around. And my ad with 1 cent, well, actually, no, 0 cents, made with 0 cents. Hopefully a little sense, but 0 cents outperformed theirs.
Outperformed them
horribly. Okay, I mean,
yeah. So something we're gonna do.
They've done some good work. I'm not saying they did a lot of good work, but I gotta say it.
So something that we're gonna do is I definitely want to show you some rebellion pack ads, and I'm curious for you to critique it. So I definitely would love to get your eye and if you think it's effective or not. And I'm agnostic, me personally, to those ads. I'm for us throwing everything at the wall. You know, so I support what they're doing over there. All right, so what do you think progressive independent news media is missing? Is there anything? I know you, I believe you ever interviewed the person from that MSNBC show, Phil Donahue, right? You interviewed one of the producers.
Oh yeah, well, okay, a producer for Phil Donahue. Yeah, that's right.
And he was a left. Yeah. So Phil Donahue was a leftist who was successful. He was like, Phil Donahue was one of the #1 shows at that time. So I'm just curious if you it seems like you might have thought about this. What do you think is out there that's not out there right now with the independent news media?
What's out there that's not out there?
Yeah. Like even a Phil Donahue show. Like I wonder if that could even be done on the internet, which is like, it's like almost like an Oprah Winfrey, but of the left.
You know, actually, hey, I'll give Katie Halper some. I mean, like she's basically what Phil Donahue was just having people on and talking things out, talking out issues. Katie Halper's done that. I mean, it's not just Katie Halper. I mean, but that's like a recent example.
You know what? That's a good point, though. I haven't seen that often.
In case I mean, literally anybody on YouTube can do a Phil Donahue, because Phil Donahue is just having a conversation with people, and you do bring it. I mean, he brought in audience questions, right?
Yeah.
Well, people do that all the time now with the live chat, and I mean, it is happening.
But you know what, though, I have to agree with you with Katie. I think she definitely, and not only because lately she's been showing a lot of my clips, which I appreciate, but she has a knack for bringing people together who might not typically be in the same room together. And she's the only person I've seen do this, right? So she had Jimmy Dore and Bree, and from what I understand, they had a little bit of friction back a while back, but then she brought them in on the same call, and they seem to they're cool, or what it seems right now to be cool, that they're able to at least work together for the force to vote. And if she can continue to do that, you know, I would love to see a Jimmy Dore and Sam Cedar have a sit down and actually discuss the topic without Jimmy going super crazy like he usually does. Cause come on. I can't imagine somebody talking to me like how he talks to some of the people on there, but I would love to see civil conversation, or Bree is probably the better person to talk with Sam Cedar and I love to get both sides and have a good argument. And even at the end of the day, if they still disagree, at least they disagree civilly. And I would take that as a fan of both of those people or the movement. All right. Yeah. So anyway, let's move on. And I don't know if you have anything last to say about that. And I'll move on to the next question.
Well, I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Okay.
I mean, that's why Joe Rogan is so popular.
Exactly. You know? Exactly.
And you know what? Yeah, no, I totally agree. A lot of my videos, I mean, that's been the message. If you go back, yeah, I mean, that's been the message.
Okay, so what do you think is missing for 2024, or how can the independent media be strong enough? Because we saw that mainstream media, capitalist news media, was very strong in giving Biden a whole bunch of money after South Carolina win, and that kind of pushed him over the edge over Bernie. And you think, where should we be by 2024 to be able to combat that capitalist news media?
Let's see. Sorry, say that again. Okay, you mentioned South Carolina. As
yeah. So basically, I would love to know, like, what do you envision for the progressive news media sphere, where we can be in 2024? Like, what level should we be at to be able to combat them? So, for example, I see a lot of smaller channels growing. So I'm wondering, do we need to have 20 different channels that have about 50,000 subscribers, and they can all have their own audience, but they're all pushing the same thing, the same person almost? Can that help defeat mainstream media propaganda?
I think that we just need, it doesn't matter, what number, how many people with 50 subs, or, even 1 million, but obviously I think just the more, I think it helps to have big, large channels like Secular Talk, but it also really, really helps to have even just a small, tiny channel with 0 subscribers. Really helps if that video can end up on Secular Talk. Do you know what I mean? And that happens.
Okay.
That happens, and I'm proof of that. Right?
Okay.
I'm proof that happens.
Yeah.
So that happens a lot. You're proof of that. You just talked about how Katie Halper uses your clips. You don't have 1 million subscribers yet.
Not at all.
So yeah, I mean, it's that's
okay. Gotcha. I think it was a tough question. Basically, my point with that question is it's definitely acknowledge that we need to be on a different level to be able to come to compete with the mainstream media. And I'm just wondering, like, what is it going to take to get there? Like, I guess I'm eager, like, let's identify the problem or what we need to do, and then let's get there. And my solution always comes back to, because we're progressives, we're grassroots, it's the people that is our fuel. So we have to find a way to galvanize the people and expand the progressive movement, expand the audience, however that can be, so that when they throw this propaganda that, Bernie Sanders can't get the black vote and all these type of things, you did the Bernie blackout, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We have an infrastructure to combat that. Now, I saw a little peek of that when after the election, and they had the infamous call, the DNC, and they try to defund the police. They try to blame Medicare for all. I saw AOC go out there. I saw different people went out there and they combat that narrative. And I think they successfully, to a certain extent, because we still have Don Lemon as recent as like last week, he's still saying, I think defund the police was a problem. Like, with no data, they're just saying what they think or whatever's in their bubble. But I think we're in we're moving in the right direction. I'm just eager to get there a little quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I have one theory regarding that. And I mean, I feel like Bernie. So, okay. I think we obviously we are getting more influence as a whole. I mean, we don't have, you and me don't have 1 million followers, but people who are talking about issues that could help everybody, could really improve society, like Medicare for all and basic income. That all started and is mainly fueled by, just regular people. it is happening, and it is happening. I mean, the basic income, like people like me were talking about that in 2012, and now Andrew Yang, can be on mainstream media talking about it. You know what I mean? So
totally.
That, and the Bernie Sanders like I always thought with in 2016, people were like, he can't win. And I knew, and why couldn't he win? A lot of the reason was like, the same, because the media obstacle, the power of the media obstacle. And what was new, I saw the social media, like that's new. Like everyone can have a voice. Everyone can, have a voice to give their message and to critique the mainstream media's message. Expose that. And so that really makes a difference. And I wonder if the Bernie Sanders campaign and Bernie Sanders himself, who has spent his entire career complaining about the power of the media and how the media only gives you so much time to speak, and they always give you loaded questions, right?
Yeah.
Well, Bernie, I just wish somebody on his campaign was like, hello, Bernie, it's 2016. Bernie, it's 2020. We can go on you can go on fucking Joe Rogan and speak for 3-4 hours uninterrupted and get your message to the people. Now, and finally in 2020, they did do that once. I mean, there's so many, like when you compare how many times he went on MSNBC just to get framed like a maniac. Like he just willingly goes back to, and even knowing he's going to get framed like a maniac, even though he's been talking about that problem his entire career. And it's almost like, Bernie, we don't have to do this anymore. Why are we spending all this time and effort on MSNBC when we just go straight to the people, on X, Y, or Z channels? Like it's now.
No, I totally hear you, because Andrew Cuomo would always tell him, like he would go on Andrew Cuomo for like 10 minutes or whatever, and he'd say, hey, come back on my show anytime. You can get the whole hour. And every time when he says that, I'm like, Bernie, okay, take him up on his offer. Can you bring on your favorite Medicare for All expert, bring him on and just take the whole hour? He just told you you could have the whole hour. And I never got why he never took him up on that offer before.
Well, if it was Cuomo, Cuomo can be good, can be bad. I mean,
he could be good, he could be bad, but that's what you want him to critique you. You want him to critique you so you could then combat him. Go ahead.
Long and uninterrupted.
Exactly.
Like that's what he's been saying we need his whole career, and yet he has it and he doesn't do it. I mean, now here's the thing though, Case. CNN is interrupted. It has the framing problem, sure, but I mean, hard questions are good, but sometimes they're loaded a lot.
Of course,
with corporate media. But here's the thing: is Chris can say in a full hour, but it's going to be cut up with commercials for fucking big pharma, and it's literally going to be cut up with commercials.
Yeah, but who cares about that stuff? We know what we're going to get.
Uninterrupted, like all these channels that were open to Bernie Sanders. All he did was give secular talk like a 5-minute phone call, which is great that he finally fucking did that. But
the thing is, my mother, people like my mother-in-law who watch, I had her sit down and watch the Bernie blackout, and at the end of that, she was like, "Wow, man, I can't believe that this is what happened just a couple months before, right?" Wow. But a week or 2 weeks later, the Bernie bro narrative was out there, and she's like, yeah, but Bernie has too many aggressive followers.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. That's the type of thing that I really hope, and at some point we get that mechanism that we can all come together, whether maybe he needed AOC, who was a surrogate and who supported him, to go out there and say, hey, these Bernie bros are not just white guys. They're, Latinos, there's black people, there's women, to soften that blow, because especially when Rachel Maddow did that interview with Elizabeth Warren, and she just hammered that Bernie bro narrative. It really hurt. And then especially with the stunt that she did, his women polling went down after Elizabeth Warren basically called Bernie a sexist for saying that a woman shouldn't run for president. But anyway, we could complain about this, and I want to get back to some strategy. So I want to ask you, do you have any strategic ideas or strategy ideas before I give you mines, and we're going to hash mines out?
You know, I nothing
right
other
now
than what I've kind of mentioned.
Okay, cool. So
yeah,
I want to talk to you about, you saw the video, I believe, the People's Gauntlet, right?
Yeah.
You watched the video. Okay, so the People's Gauntlet, for anybody who's listening and doesn't know, it's a vision that I'm trying to put together. And basically the People's Gauntlet was born out of the idea that Colin R. Red, he was for Medicare for All, joined the campaign while he was running, but then when he won and when he got into office, he dropped it like a bad habit, you know. So I was thinking, okay, we need to, at the least, we don't know when these guys are lying, but we want to get them on the record so that we can then hammer them when they go against what they're saying. So for example, with AOC, you know, as much as I'm still an AOC fan, and I'm still have confidence that we could hopefully push her in the right direction, right? But you rightfully said, hey, pointed out what she said before she was elected. She said, hey, even if it takes me to be one term, I'm going to be, you know, fight for this and fight. You know, we were able to take that audio and say, hey, look, remember this? And I hey, that's fair game in my eyes, right? So the People's Gauntlet is going to have different legs, and it's going to ask about ranked choice voting, defund the police, or police reform. You could call it police reform also. And it's going to talk about all the different topics. And I'm hoping that I'm talking to different people behind the scenes, and we're going to come together. And I'm hoping, see, this is an initiative that I hope people from TYT on one side all the way to Jimmy Dore can tell candidates, hey, if you want to come on my show, you need to do the People's Gauntlet. I want to see that you have a YouTube channel and that you talked about this. You talked about social justice topics. And I'm going to have, I already have the website that people can go to. People's Gauntlet. Is nothing there right now, but I'm still, basically what I'm doing is what some people wish Jimmy Dore would have done, but I still agree with what Jimmy Dore did because it was a natural grassroots thing.
Explain that. Can you explain that? Like, what do you want to do that Jimmy Dore didn't do?
So basically, I'm kind of telling everybody my idea and letting them give me feedback. So I'm telling you my idea, and anything that you have any ideas, hey, maybe we can do this or that. I talked to a couple, I'm not going to say exactly the people who have their own shows. Actually, Nico House was already on the Progressive War Room, and he likes the idea and he's down for the idea. And then there's other people that are on the other side that I'm talking to that is interested in the idea. So right now I'm just like flushing it out, and even with the audience, this is open source strategizing, because I actually did the video, and in the comment section somebody said, hey, you left out this, and I was like, oh, you're right, I did leave this out. And I have a whole list of the topics. I just don't want to go through all that right now because we got to continue the questions. But basically, for anybody listening right now, the People's Gauntlet, look out for that. That's coming soon, and I'm hoping that this unites the left, because we need everybody involved, and however involved you want to be, that's at your discretion. But I want for people to say, hey, if you want to come on my show, you need to do the People's Gauntlet, and that's how I'll give you my audience to because that's how we give progressives their, you know, a way to get exposure, to get their name recognition up. TYT does the conversation. We have various other people who have Nico House. He would have people on, and that's something that I really want to get this initiative off the ground. And if anybody has any ideas, anything to add to this, put it in the comments in the chat below. But I know I'm not giving all the details, but everybody look out for that. That's a strategy that's coming. And any last thing you want to say before I move on?
I'll just agree. I mean, I think of course it's a great idea to get politicians on record and hold them accountable to their work.
Hold on one second, Matt. I'm sorry, your audio is cutting in and out. I don't know if the audience can hear that, but it's like it sounds scratchy.
How about now? Any better or no?
No, I don't know.
Oh man,
might have happened. Maybe unplug yourself and plug it back in. Maybe unplug your headphones and plug back in.
Any better now?
No, but
Let
it's
me
all right. We'll
okay.
have to go with it. We'll have to go with it. Go ahead.
Okay, so no, I just was going to say I totally agree that we want to find out, make politicians let us know where they stand on issues and hold them accountable to their own words and promises. I mean, it's so basic, so basic. I don't think it's anything new. However, you're doing it with the People's Gauntlet, I mean, sounds good to me.
Okay, awesome, awesome. I'm trying to see if the people hear that in the chat. I'm asking the chat. Let me know if you hear them, if it's messed up still or not. Okay, so I got 9 minutes with my man Matt. Thank you so much again for coming on the show and for doing this. I want to ask you. I want to show a video. Actually, let's go to that. I'm going to show you a video of a rebellion pack, and I just want to get your feedback. I'm not saying they're doing a bad job or not. I don't want to lead the witness. I just want you to give me your feedback.
You just did, Case. You just did. All right, go ahead.
I know, you're right. You're absolutely right. I did lead the witness. All right, boom. Oh, you know what? Let's go to this. Let's go to this one right here. So I'm going to play this.
The only thing stopping you from getting $2,000 of COVID relief are the Republicans. Vote Democrat early or on January 5th.
All right. So that was a quick. That was quick order. Now you tell me, did you hear that sound well, or was it in and out?
I did. Yeah, no,
Okay, so maybe it's on my end. Okay, so what do you think about that? Let me come back to you.
Well, I think
Go ahead.
the issue with that is obviously that it is not just the Republicans standing in the way.
Okay, interesting.
I mean, so that's a big. I mean, it's just it's a false. Uh, it's it's just wrong. I mean, the only way it's just continuing the narrative that everything is Republicans' fault and not Democrats. Now, obviously, I suspect it's a Democrat-funded ad, right? So obviously, that's what it's going to do. But if Democrats actually wanted to get people more than $2,000 or $2,000 for COVID, or any, all the things they say they want to do, then the way you don't do that is you make sure the fucking Democrats do that, do what they say, and not just instead of just blaming the Republicans for everything. And the Republicans do the same thing, of course. They say we need to do X, Y, and Z. We need to balance the budget, and they blame the Democrats for it, while George W. Bush and Trump run the budget into oblivion. I mean, so it just doesn't. That's just what they do.
Okay.
And
so let me play devil's advocate real quick, Matt.
Sure,
so what if somebody from Rebellion Pack said, well, right now we're trying to promote the Democrats to defeat the Republicans. So in this commercial, we can't go against both. What would you say to somebody who says that?
Well, I mean, what do you want to do? Do you want to elect Democrats, or do you want to get Democrats to actually do what they say they're going to do for you?
So let me ask you this question. What kind of ad would you have cut if somebody gave you $100,000 that, okay, this is going to go up on the TV ads, and that's your budget? What type of ad would you do?
Honestly, Case, I'm not proud of this, but if it's $100,000 for one ad, I'll do whatever the hell they want me to know. I mean, probably if it's like, if it's a week, I don't know. So if someone would pay me $100,000 to make that ad, yeah, I'd do it, and then I'd spend the rest of the week making.
Okay, but the point is, what type of ad would you create in that in the runoff?
So now that I've revealed that I'm human and corruptible, just like everybody else, truly, this is not an AOC issue. This is a human issue. It is not a Democrat issue. It's a human issue. So I would, for 2000. Let's see, what would I do for I like what Bernie Sanders was trying to do, saying that he would withhold his vote from the defense bill, the NDAA, I believe. So if Republicans wouldn't pass the $2,000 checks. Now, here's the thing: is that's just one guy. If you had all the Democrats saying that in an ad that we're going to withhold our vote on the war budget, unless you give Americans $2,000 to help them from getting evicted in a terrible economic downturn, then that I think
That's what
that
you
would
do.
be effective.
Okay, let me ask you this question. Would you focus an ad on Mitch McConnell in Georgia for the Georgia runoff, or would you make an ad focused on the two Republican incumbents? So, for example, like you can hit and say, hey, we want to get Mitch out of power, out of the majority, so that Democrats can pass.
Oh, sure.
Bigger, yeah. Or would you focus on, the corruption of these people, with the COVID, they, put money in stock that would benefit from the COVID?
Oh, yeah. No,
what do you think?
I mean, I think that's totally good strategy. You call out Mitch or the Republicans who were invested in making money off the pandemic. I mean,
okay,
that's fucked up. That's they're abusing their position. They shouldn't be spending their time trying to. They literally got caught spending their time,
totally.
selling stock to enrich themselves instead of spending that valuable time.
Exactly. So I got 4 minutes with you. So I'm going to do rapid fire with you real quick.
To help people. All right, sure. Go ahead.
All right. So Bernie Sanders is not running again, of course, but do you see him as a progressive kingmaker in 2024?
I don't know. I mean,
so let's say Nina Turner is running.
There's no doubt his endorsement will carry a lot of power. There's no question.
Yeah. Okay. And then, do you think the word progressive has been watered down?
Yeah, for sure. I think that I think that progressive, the left, the right, liberal, libertarian, conservative, Republican, I think all that, it almost means like nothing when I see people constantly calling, a left, like something reasonable, a right winger. Like, so Jimmy Dore is like a crazy Republican right winger for wanting to force a vote on Medicare for all. And he's been pushing for, Medicare for all, honestly, his entire career, it seems. It goes way back into his comedy. Now, So yeah, I mean, that's just kind of, so I think, and also when you see progressives, self-proclaimed progressives who totally back down from an incredible opportunity to push for a floor vote for Medicare for all, I mean, that's, that waters down the word. Like, how can you say you're for these policies when you're literally shitting on the movement that's pushing our politicians to actually follow through with enacting these policies and moving forward to enact these policies? That's what waters it down. And because that happens all the time, it's not just progressive, that happens all the time. Anybody with their like principles. So like, I don't give a fuck what people call themselves. Like if they call themselves progressives, I don't care what anything about that. But I think it's important for people to sure, listen to what they say outside of what they're calling themselves, and listen to what they stand for, and pay attention to when they don't follow through with what they stand for. That's
awesome.
And that's really the biggest thing with me. I mean, that's what inspired me. I was not into politics until I saw how terribly people were getting misrepresented. Honestly, I mean, not hugely into politics. When I saw that, honestly, the first stuff was like basic income, and then Bernie 2016, I was like, this guy, like I like heard what he said. I'm like, what people are saying about this man is absolutely absurd, and about his policies and his campaign. I mean, so that's what inspired me to fix things up. Sorry, but yeah, I already answered.
No, I got you. So we're going to wrap it up right now. Thank you so much, Matt, for coming on the show. I just want to shout out Michael Corcoran. I want to shout out Mark O'Brien, Brian Ufram, and RYYY87, and who else we got? Boston Tea Patriot. Yeah, and I thank you for being in the chat. And do you have anything that you want to promote, Matt?
Yeah, please support me on Patreon, or at least just check out some of my videos. I hope you enjoy them. Leave a comment, leave some feedback. I always appreciate that. And if you like it, please share.
Awesome. Thank you again, Matt. This is what the Progressive War Room is about. I know we talked about force to vote, which is actually, that's a strategy that's going on, is on fire right now, and is moving right now. And we're going to continue. What I would love to see is us come together, strategize. We're going to have disagreements. Let's hash out the disagreements, find where we agree, and then move forward as one force. Unite the left. Hashtag unite the left. And let's get this done. Let's get Medicare for all done. Let's get UBI done. Let's get universal child care. We know all the progressive ranked choice voting. That's one of my top issues. And Matt, you have one more last thing to say?
Yeah, I just want to sorry to I don't want to interrupt you. You could chop this because now I'm just like, but
no worries.
Yeah, it really is like the theory that I just, I mentioned, we just got to push people to do what they say they're going to do for us.
I agree. I'm 100% with that.
And the notion that you can just do it later, like if not now, when? Like
exactly.
It's just not right.
Let me be clear exactly who I mean, because I'm 100% for pushing Rashida Tlaib, AOC, Ilhan Omar. I like the fact that she came out with that tweet. She gave us a wink, but we need more. With our politicians, let's go ham. Let's go all in, push, force, pressure. I'm on the outside and I want to pressure the inside, right? But what I'm talking about, unite the left, I'm talking about us on the outside. Like everybody on the outside, we need to find a way to agree to disagree. We need to find a way to strategize if we don't agree on certain things, or maybe you didn't like my idea, but I like your idea. Let's put it together. That's what I'm talking about with unite the left to pressure. Because I clipped something that Roland Martin said on his show a while back, and he said, you have the inside strategy, then you have the outside inside, and then you have the outside, right? So the inside strategy, of course, is the politicians that we need to put pressure on. The outside inside was the NAACP, who had access. And a matter of fact, let's use this example. They had the conference with all the black leaders, including Al Sharpton, who had that meeting with Biden. But Biden just totally disrespected them and showed no kind of compassion for their grievances, right? But then on the outside, now you have Black Lives Matter. And they were talking about how they didn't get a chance. I don't know to this day if they still didn't meet with the Biden administration, but they were saying they didn't meet with the Biden administration. So you know what? The George Floyd kind of protesting should be going on right after Biden gets inaugurated. Like we need to see that same energy on the outside, and we can't have people fighting. We can't have the NAACP fighting with the Black Lives Matters, or if there's defund the police people, if that's an organization, I don't want to see Black Lives Matter say, oh, we're not with the defund the police people, or that's the type of things that I'm hoping we can find some solidarity, find a way to agree to disagree at the least, and then move forward. You understand what I'm saying, Matt?
I do think there's so many instances of like people where there's real common ground, and they refuse to see it. They're distracted because they're just constantly saying, oh, bad Republicans, bad Democrats. But the reality is most people do want Medicare for all, or at least some form of universal health care like the rest of the world. So I 100%
I'm going to respect my man's time, because I know you want to be out at 11. So I pride myself in hitting those marks. So thank you again. Thanks to everybody in the chat, and have a good one.
Thanks so much.
Much love.
Keep
have a good one.
Clips.
Matt, you stay right there. I'm going to